Welcome back to the second part of this hooping with Hazel, doing a quilt block in the hoop. Right, I've put the hoop onto the unit, and my design is all loaded up ready. Let's just go over here on the epic and turn off the colours, and you can see that to begin with we just have some fixings. You will find as you look at all these designs that they've probably given you more boxes and outline alignment stitches than you need. You won't have to stitch them all out, but they're there just in case you need them. I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to go straight to the next colour, but what I am going to do is I'm going to hit the fix. And on my machine now, you can see when I close that, you can see the whole design there on the screen. And what I'm going to do is bring this back up, and you have basting options. Obviously I know that not every machine has this, but if you have options, then you can baste around the design or around the hoop. Now you will find with these blocks, because to get as much detail in and size, basting around the design is almost the same as basting around the hoop. But I'm going to do both because I feel it holds it all in place just that little bit better. Now we're ready to start the embroidery. Here you can see the first 4 colours stitched out. All the stems and the blocks are done in gold, and then we've got tiny little cream little buds here which go under the flowers, and now it's stitching out the first green in these leaves. They're thicker here and lighter stitches at the top, and when the next colour comes down, the thicker stitches will be there and the lighter ones there, and that just creates another green. There are never enough green embroidery threads, so you blend 2 greens, not too different, but you blend them together and you get another green, a better green, perhaps a little bit more like nature. As you can see here, this quilt block's coming along nicely. It is a large quilt block. It has 87,000 stitches, so I think this is one of the I think this block has the most stitches in the set, but I could be wrong. But as you can see, we're just beginning to get that curve look where the embroidery is lower and the areas where there is no embroidery are standing up. It's very important. I've had a few issues with the fabric moving, especially when I haven't actually done I leave the borders to last, and they've moved a few times. So later on I'm going to pin these or tape them down to prevent that from happening. But you see how it's beginning to take shape. These greens and golds are the basic colours of the quilt blocks. But as you see, as they develop, we start introducing a few other colours, like these, and a turquoise, and these make a big difference to how the finished block looks. Anyway, I'll carry on with my embroidery. We're up to colour number 12 and we have a total of 23, so we're almost halfway through. We've stitched out 42,000 stitches so far, so we are halfway through the block. Now you can see that this is really coming together now. We've only got 5 or 6 colours left to do. The embroidery is nearly complete, and as I was trying to explain to you how the little mauve and pink really help make it pop, we haven't added the turquoise yet. Now, I don't know if I explained before, but the reason I use the sulky soft and sheer is that it gives a little bit more flexibility on the back. I found using stitch and tear didn't work very well, and my designs were flat, far too flat. I did experiment first of all by putting the batting on the back, but I find it's best to put the batting in between. But obviously it depends what look you're looking for, and there are different ways of doing things, and this is my preference. Right, we're going to put the little turquoise dots on here, and then we're almost ready to do the quilting, which is done last. Now all the embroidery is finished, and we are now going to add the basting stitches. And we don't have to do anything, not the basting stitches, I mean the quilting stitches. We don't have to do anything at this point. There is another way of stitching out these quilt blocks, but I will show you that in another video, and it is more advanced and a bit more complicated. But for now, we are going to add the quilting stitches, and then we will do the 2 borders in satin. We got the outside one, and then there's one that goes in here, which is the inner block, and this is the frame. This frame matches nicely with these designs, and you can see how we've got a few bright colours that just give the embroidery a little bit of pop. So I hope you like it as it is at the moment, and we'll now do the quilting stitches, which I have set to be all the same length, and I am stitching them out in ivory. I know, let's thread the needle, that always helps, doesn't it? The quilting stitches have been finished, and there aren't any on the frames, but as you can see they highlight blocks. They don't go around every element in the block, but they just highlight different areas of them. And in the other, I mentioned there was another way of stitching these out, and that pushes, this other method pushes the embroidery up. Because the batting is added after the embroidery is done, but the stabilizer needs to be removed. I shall make a video about that. It is more complicated, and the results, although they look very impressive, you do find that because you've removed the stabilizer off the back, and that involves a little bit of pulling and tugging, the alignment of these quilting stitches is not exact, but it's worth considering. Anyway, that's the quilting stitches done now, and all I have to do are the borders, and then this block is complete. That means I have actually got 12 complete blocks, which I shall be showing you in the next video, and then I shall catalogue the progress I make in joining these 12 blocks together to form a wall hanging. Now I just wanted to show you what I've done to eliminate a problem that's happened in several of my stitch outs. At the sides it seems to be fine, but sometimes the top and the bottom move and you get a little bit caught and they're not laying flat. So, and I think this happens more so if you've not got a large piece of fabric, but if you have a large piece of fabric, it's overlapping the quilt, the hoop, and it's difficult to fix it. So what I've done, and I'll show you here, I've folded it over. All right, and secured it with a bit of tape, and probably a few pins wouldn't come amiss either, just to keep this area flat, because I think it's something to do with the fact that you've got a sandwich here. It just tends to work over, and there's nothing worse than catching it. So I mean obviously if you're going to sit here and watch it, your stitch out, then that's fine, but I confess that I go off and do other things and leave it stitching, so I'm not able to watch it. So this is just a little precautionary advice. Now I've got this tape, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it there, and now obviously that's a bit too near the stitch line. I don't want it to be actually where it's going to stitch, just to make it flat, because you can see it has a tendency to ride up. Which is not a good thing. In fact, I mean, it won't matter where it has happened, because when I join the quilt blocks, I shall be putting the sashing right up to the satin edging. So that won't be a problem. And I'm just going to do it this side because I don't want it to go wrong again. just keeps it flat. But if you fold it underneath, then you can have just a little bit more control of it all. I'm sorry my arm's coming across the screen, but it can be quite a challenge to do things when the tripod and the camera are directly in front of the machine. I think that will be all right. I'll be back when the borders are finished. My embroidery is now finished, and as you can see, I've added pins as well. So I've taped and pinned everything down so that it's nice and flat, and the satin edging is done perfectly. I hope you like this quilt block. I will be showing all of them in the next video. Just to say that you need to experiment. You need to, before you attempt to do a series of quilt blocks that you're going to make into a quilt or a wall hanging, you need to study them carefully. You need to work out how you're going to attach them and what sort of batting you want to use. And the combination of batting and stabilizer is very important. Now, I have done these, but I have not put a backing on them. I think I was so focused on trying to get the lift on these that I've not backed them. So we shall meet that problem when I put these all together and show them to you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helps you in your machine embroidery journey and discovery, and challenges you to do something a little bit more complicated. And if it fails, don't worry, try again. Anyway, do leave some comments, hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. So if you subscribe and you hit that little bell button, you will actually get notified every time I release a new video. These designs will be out probably next week. Today is the 19th of May and we're in 2021. I hope to get them out at the beginning of next week. And until next time, happy embroidering. Bye for now.